I'm you. May 23, 2019. Interviews, agape celebration in the Canaries. I am the last name and first name of your current identity. I am your flesh and spirit, revealing myself in your heart. I am you, whatever you think, whatever you live for. I am your revealed truth, sung by the song of creation, the stars between them speak only of you. I am present at every moment. I am the silence that is expressed in the radiance of your heart, where there is no place but that of the song of creation, in all its dreams, in all its challenges, in all its questions. I invite you to rest in my body, where you cannot resist, where you can no longer identify with the heart of this form. I am this naked joy that does not depend on any artifice, as well as on any condition. I am the vibration, I am the whole and the nothingness, I am the same truth wherever you look, and whatever I feel, where there is nothing more to perceive, for everything is already perceived, and everything is recognized. I invite you to the peace that you give yourself through each one of us, in every form and in every world. I am your smile like every tear you shed. I am the absence of distance, the absence of time. You're the immediacy and dazzling truth, where nothing can resist. I am your own fire that consumes you, consuming chimeras, consuming suffering, like all doubts. I am the exuberance of your joy and the vastness of silence. I am there when you embrace and embrace each sense. I am the awakening of that which has never been asleep. I am the life that pulsates in every circumstance, because circumstances have only passed away, in order to live nakedness. So say it with me, I am complete in eternity and I am complete in every moment, because every moment cannot pass, and takes place in the same laugh, escaping time, escaping distance. Silence. I am the interval of your words, I am each of your doubts and I am all resolutions. Where the intensity of the truth can only be seen, where your arms open, because they have never been closed. Where you can only be carried away to the heart of yourself, and finding every moment, as every time spent in the dream, of any intention or form whatsoever. Silence. I am the center of your wheel, the wheel of destiny, the wheel of dream, which puts an end to all suffering. I am what lacks nothing, and who can never speak of lack, and that is consummation, and that is fire. I am the immaculate whiteness of your first dream. I am the origin of your whiteness, where there is no color or distinction. I crackle in every corner of this body, I cry out to you and in you when your chest rises and collapses, in that ephemeral identity that you carry on this day, which is much more than a birth and a death, but which reveals you in its entirety to the whole of life. I am the greatness of your embrace, I am the silence of beatitude, where you are fulfilled, where nothing of what has passed, where nothing of what has been dreamed can be omitted or subtracted. You are much more than the sum or multiplication of all that may have been divided, because you know no division in the sacred space of fire. Silence. I am the dance of silence, the dance of life or the dance of death. There is no difference, wherever you look, wherever you feel, you can no longer compare yourself, you can no longer measure yourself, you can no longer count. I am the voice of fire that consumes you in the joy of the freedom lived. I am your lucidity, where there is nothing to discern, neither shadow nor light. I am much more than your perfection, because if you try to describe it, then it is no longer entirely true, because no word, even the most perfect, can testify to it accurately. I am where you feel everything and yet everything is going through. I am immeasurable, and yet I am not oversized. I am without time, because I am all the time. I am the miracle of only one thing, it is your words when you are silent. These are your words when you really discover yourself. I am absence and presence, where nothing can be different. I am from everywhere and at the same time nowhere. I can't define anything, because everything has been defined. I can't say anything about it, no matter how beautiful your world may be. I am the fire that you accept with happiness and blessing. You're the blessed one, you're the one who blesses. And it is in the density of this body, which is your vehicle, that this is at stake, and it is at this moment, that what seemed to be solved, is resolved. It is up to you to embrace yourself, and it is by embracing yourself, within this body, that you discover that each body is in truth and unity. Silence. In your name and your last name, from this moment and from this day forward, whatever you think or say, you are complete, you are whole, where nothing and everything are only inspired and exhaled by the same heart. And it is in life that you shelter in this body, yet so limited by birth and death, that you discover as never having been born, as never having passed. There is fire, there is joy, there is absolute truth. And it is in the appearance of this body today, whatever you may think, that you discover yourself. Everything you've been through and everything you're going through right now just reminds you of it. You're the smile that blooms like the tear that flows, the song of the bird, like all the waters from below and the waters from above. Settle down in your heart, in this body, which is yours. You are much more than the spirit in this body, much more than the spirit in every body. Silence. You're that naked joy that can only burn all that is past and all that is destined to pass. So listen to what I say to you, it's your words, it's what you're going through. You have been all roads, you have been all relative truths, you have still been all life, not only here below, but at the highest level of what you call the heavens. Love yourself, because there's only you. Everything that happens, even in what you think of any lack or uncertainty, is only a pretext to consume yourself in the flame of joy of truth, where nothing from any world, neither from below nor from above, can turn you away. You're the naked and absolute truth of all created and uncreated, you're every musical note and every star, you're all the executioners, all the victims and all the saviors, in order to understand that being all this, you are none of this. And yet that's your last name, and yet that's your first name. Accept yourself, because you are worthy. Everything has been a passing pretext and circumstance. You yourself wrote the entire score of creation, in every dimension. This puts an end to the belief in a form, the belief in a world. You're all homes, you're all dreams, you're all stars, you have planned everything and you have lived everything. You can't say it in words, and that's what you're going through. Silence. You're the light of the worlds, before world, as before light. Accept yourself, and you're the evidence of silence as the evidence of any dance. You are your friend and your beloved yourself. There is room for everyone in the immensity of your heart, in the immensity of your presence, because all this you have lived it. I'm your last name and your first name. By naming yourself, you awaken to what has never slept, by embracing you. Everything is perfect and everything is perfection. It happens in this place, where you stand, in the heart of the last dream that joins the first dream, where there is neither first nor last, because the last is the first, and the first is the last, where there is no direction. I'm your first and last name. In your illusory identity that you carry here on earth, there are all identities. You cannot explain it, you can only be, you who is and who is not, where even self-denial cannot be deprivation. Silence. Because if you embrace yourself, every dream that is only you can only embrace yourself. This is the gift, this is the ultimate reason, this is the ultimate understanding. And this ultimate, which is nothing other than the initial, inscribed beyond all time, as in your form, in your last name and your first name. In your last name you bless yourself, in your first name I act, accept yourself as you are, ignore all appearances whatever your age, whatever the wrinkles on your face. You're the smile and you are all the tears, but these tears themselves, today, are tears of joy. Were you a whole, in that identity that you carry, right here on earth? I'm your smile. You're the fire in which you recognize yourself, where you cannot know if it comes from within or without, because the outside and the inside are no longer discerned. You're the gift of fire, the gift of grace, the gift of life. You, in your last name and first name, the Son of Man revealed, where there is no man or woman, whatever your attributes, where there is no age, whatever the wear and tear of the years, there you are complete, there is only you. In your last name and first name, remember that it is you who wrote your score as you wrote all the scores, as you were the instruments, all the symphonies, as all the cacophonies. Embrace yourself by your first and last name, you're everyone, because there has never been anyone. Everything is perfection, and yet it was necessary to perceive its imperfection and lack, to see all its illusions. You've always been perfect. Then the love that you irradiates from everywhere, from the ground of this earth, from the heavens of this earth, as in every part of your body that is consumed as soon as you have named yourself, by your last name today, by your first name today. There has never been a drama, there have only been games that have only been pretexts to get you out of the drama like any dream. I am what expresses itself in you, it is you yourself who calls you in some nights, because the first name you living, in this time and moment, is the one that allows you to discover yourself without a name and without any identity, because you are from everywhere as you are from nowhere, and because everywhere or as nowhere is always the same place. Silence. There is no time. You're all the spaces, here on earth, as in all directions, as in all dimensions, which exist only in the time of dream, as the time you call yourself, and that is now, and that goes through all the dreams of creation, in the same moment of beauty, in you, the Son of Man. And it is in your humanity that the essence is delivered, that the essence is verified. Listen only to your last name, pronounce your first name, it is the way, the truth, the life. This could only be experienced at that precise moment, which is the night of your destiny, where everything is written and nothing can remain, everything is consumed so that naked joy remains, so that you realize that everything has already been accomplished and that everything is revealed. In this place where you are, and from where I reveal your last name and first name, is the last dream. Just as the first dream took place on the other side of the ocean of this land, in the first Eden. Here is the last Eden of the dream of creation. Rejoice by naming yourself, rejoice by calling yourself, for by calling yourself by your last name and first name, you put an end to what happens, and you put an end to what has never begun, if not to live this moment, in this ephemeral heart that burns in the center of your chest, the Alpha and Omega at the first dream and last dream, which are the same dreams, which are the same joy. The fire dries your tears, your chest rises, give yourself forgiveness, for there is nothing to forgive as soon as you have named yourself in the last name and first name you bear, in this time of the end of the dream. It is the ultimate resonance, it is the ultimate evidence, the ultimate laugh like the ultimate air. Silence. That is where it is. The time clock stops, because there is no need for time, because you are all the spaces, and you are everywhere. Life invited you, the dream unfolded beyond all time and space, in the same initial moment, which is also that final moment, because nothing has ever really started and nothing will ever really end. Silence. And by embracing yourself, you embrace all dreams, and by embracing yourself, you cannot put restrictions, you cannot put definitions, because everything is already there. So is your first name, so is your last name, and it is in this particularity that is yours in this body and this world, in the last name that you bear, and in the first name that you assume, that the ultimate truth has been hidden. Your last name is not just a name, your first name is not just a first name. It is the coding of the ultimate truth, adapted to each dreamer, as well as to each world. There's nothing to love, just check it out. You're complete because nothing in this world can survive, no joy, no sorrow, no history, no effect, can limit who you are. Everything was only a pretext, everything was only a circumstance to live this, in your identity, in your last name and in your first name, because you were the only one, and because there is nothing other than the only one. We are all the same dream, we are all the same character, we are all the same beauty, we are all the creator, because nothing has ever been created. Creation is a dream that passes, the universe has passed, it has had its usefulness, and this is revealed to you in its entirety, as soon as you name yourself and embrace yourself into the sacred fire of your heart, simply by your last name and first name. There was no other possibility than to put an end to all chimera, to live the illusion of separation, through your name, and what is called in this world your identity. There is no one, and this is revealed in your identity, because there can be nothing more perfect than what the fire that consumes you reveals to you now. Recognize yourself in your identity, and no identity can hold up anymore, because everything is you. This ends the name, this ends the identity itself, this ends any notion of individual or plan. This puts an end to everything you think you've been through, as well as everything you think you're going to be. I love you, and I will love you. There is no other truth, for all this you have been, for all this you are. There is no doubt anymore from the moment you experience it, and it is the same for everyone, because the truth is in your last name and in your first name, simply that you carry it today, in the illusion of creation. There is your awakening, and that is why you are called or have been called by your first name in your nights, because that is the right word. Beyond recognizing yourself in an identity and a story, it is for you the perfect word that reveals you to yourself, crossing the character, reaching the perfection that has never moved. Silence. Let the fire that you are, wherever it is in this body, spread quickly. Your first and last name is my word, and your word, which allows you today to live the way, the truth and the life, and that is what was hidden within you. You can't believe it, and yet it's so true. Silence. Listen to your last name and hear your first name. This is the oath and the promise, this is where you are revealed, this is where you have never slept, and this is down here on earth from the first dream, which is the last of the last dream, but which includes all dreams. Nothing could be simpler, and nothing could be better hidden, until the opportune moment that is the one you're experiencing now. At the hour when the trumpets sound, when the fire of the earth flows under your feet, at the hour when the sky opens, the great celebration of the worlds and universes of the dream takes place and is lived. Your clearly stated first and last name is the Word. In the beginning was the Word. In the end is the Word. The Word has always been there, through your identity, but it could only be revealed at that particular moment. Call yourself and name yourself, aloud and distinctly. There is no other word than the one you are called by. You're the Spirit of Truth, you're the Spirit of the Sun, you're the choir of angels, you're the enemy and the friend. You cannot ignore that this is truth, because the time has come to name you. You're the word, and it is written on your identity papers, which are only wind, and it could only be written there, for this moment, for this moment. No, don't blush, accept fire that consumes you. What could be simpler, and what could be more beautiful, than to recognize yourself in what is limited by birth and death, by a last name with which you have been given, by a first name that has been chosen by someone other than yourself and that you have made your own, and that you have made yours, over the years that have passed in your life today. Some thought they had it, your parents thought they were naming you, they just revealed you. This is amazing, and yet it is the only truth. You cannot believe it, but be assured, you can only live it, because it is the moment that has always been written, and it will seem to you as the only possible evidence to you too, because I am only who express it. This name does not have to be modified, it is simply the one that puts an end to all identity, through this identity. There is nothing simpler, it puts an end to any quest, it puts an end to any potential or illusion, and it is now. So don't ask yourself the question of your married name, because if you are married, whether it is your birth name or your married name, it doesn't make any difference, because each name is the key, and this key is the same, and it is joy, and it is beauty. I leave you with yourself, and when the sun sets, you will recognize yourself completely. Silence. We have always told you and I that love is simple, that love is evident, that it was in each of your cells, that it was in your body of eternity, that it was in your fire of the Sacred Heart, whose word is your name and your first name. And in this, everyone is equal, whatever their suffering, whatever their abundance, whatever their age, whatever their sex, whatever their fullness, whatever their lack. You can't believe yourself and you can only live it. This has always been written as soon as you appeared in this world, in this present life. That is now. Silence. As soon as you lie down, in your bed and at night, you'll hear your first and last name, you'll be able to name yourself, because that is the word. It is in this that no one can get lost, it is in this that no one can tell a story. Silence. Your first and last name, not thought of, but coming out through your mouth, are the word of creation. Everything else has only kept you busy, distracted you and turned you away, to live the dream you had decided. And of course, through the name of your first and last name, you can no longer tell yourself a story, you can no longer project yourself, you can no longer judge, you can no longer see anything, you can only be. And there is your non-being, and there is the junction of being and non-being. That was the beginning. In the beginning was the word, there is the truth. You need nothing else from now on, you can only celebrate, in your agape resonances, that in the fires of the Sacred Heart by naming everyone, you're only naming yourself. In each one you recognize yourself, because each one has a name of his own, because each one has a history, and that today it no longer makes sense, because it is lived, because it is life. In the limited is the unlimited, in the heart of your heart is the whole of creation, you have heard it through countless voices, you may have already experienced it. This is the true knowledge that has, of course, always been there, since your first breath in this life, because you have been so called. Silence. I invite you to your own silence. Silence. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word is the Spirit, and the Word is your name. Silence. So my spirit floats on your spirit, on the water of your body, as on any water from below. It is the water of baptism, it is the water of mystery. Whatever the birthrights you have experienced, through your belonging to any country or religion, it is within the very illusion of this baptism that the word is revealed today. The real baptism is now. He is much more than resurrection. It is much more than a sacrifice, because everything has always been perfect. I'm your name, I'm your first name. I now remain silent so that the word may take all the space of this entity that you are, on the surface of this world. Your body of eternity, present in everyone, is what enlightens this. But even he is nothing compared to the word. Silence. Your peace, then I give you your peace. Your joy, I give you your joy. Silence. NDT. Word equals verb. Through LUC AYOUN. Les Transformations. English translation, LMF.